Hey everyone, Andy here with Mossy Creek Fly Fishing. I'll be bringing you your fly fishing forecast for this week. A couple housekeeping things real quick here before we jump into the fishing forecast. Just a reminder that we will be closed tomorrow for the 4th of July, so hopefully everybody has a chance to get together with family, hang out and enjoy the holiday. If you do choose to be on the water tomorrow, keep your eye out on some of those bigger rivers for lots of folks floating. Probably the one time a year I would tell you that it might be worth staying home rather than going out to fish if you're looking for solitude at the very least. So keep that in mind. And then the other thing is announcing we'll be at Parkway Brewing in Roanoke coming up later this month, I believe Saturday, July 22nd. So if you're going to be in that area, we'll be happy to see you and hope to see lots of you come out for that. Now let's jump into the fishing. So as usual, let's start with our small streams, our brook trout stuff. Those are going to continue to fish kind of the same way we've been talking about through the summer. So when we have rainfall, when we have good water flows, we're going to have good water temps up there and the fish are going to be feeding. So it's one of those deals where we want to kind of keep an eye out on the weather and pick those dates when we get up into our mountain streams accordingly. If you have a chance to get out, within a few days following some good rainfall, you're probably going to find that you have some great fishing. And then as that water recedes, gets low, it'll start to warm up, and you probably want to leave them be when you're in those real low water periods when we've got warm temperatures out. So right now, water's probably still fishable in most of those streams, especially if you focus on your bigger drainages, but great time of year to be carrying a water thermometer with you. If you're taking water temps and they're up in the upper 60s, you may want to consider fishing for something else or finding a different body of water that's got a little bit colder water year-round in it. So if you do get out on those mountain streams, dry flies are going to continue to work great. Ant patterns are always a go-to in the mountains right now, but a shop favorite here is the PMX. But really, pick your favorite dry fly, present it well, and you're going to find that you should be able to catch some fish. And if you do get out following a big rain, don't be afraid to dredge bottom a little bit. Put on some big nymphs, things like Pat's rubber legs. Can pick up some really good brook trout in higher flows. So keep that in mind as well. And just as a general rule for trout, when we get into these summer months, as our water temps rise, those fish want the most highly oxygenated water possible. So whether you're out on a freestone stream or even on a spring creek or a tailwater, all these streams, whether they're a little bit more consistent in water temp or not, they're all still warming up some. So finding some of your nicer fish right at the heads of your pools, right in that fast water, don't skip by that stuff because that's going to be generally your best trout fishing right now. So that's going to be it kind of for your mountain stream stuff. Down here on our valley floor, our spring creeks are fishing great. Over the last week, we've really started to see a lot of terrestrial fishing happening. Japanese beetles out on Mossy and beaver have been consistently producing throughout this week. And we expect that to now continue through the summer. So Japanese beetles, your grasshoppers are going to be out too. A little bit early still on some of our big hoppers. We've had fish looking up at them, but kind of refusing them still. So grasshoppers are catching some fish, but generally are smaller grasshoppers. And beetles have been more so the #1 producer, as well as ants too. And I would, if you're out there fishing on Mossy or beaver with a terrestrial up top, I'd go ahead and put a nymph below. They are pretty well keyed in on the surface most days, but never hurts to have that nymph down below too. And that can be something generic. You don't need an exact fly right now, but again, things like maybe an unweighted Pat's rubber legs, or another fly we have here that we like a lot is your checkmate nymph. That one has been a really good producer on Mossy Creek and Beaver Creek and Spring Run as well. All of our spring creeks, that fly has worked quite well for us. So spring creek's good to get out and fish now through the rest of the summer, especially if you're looking to get your trout fix in. And then our tailwaters as well, those will stay cold. Again, looking for those fish really pushed into more of your faster moving water. Great time of year to be tight lining, or if you're not, put on some of those bigger, heavier flies and see if you can get down quick in the heads of those pools or just in your little riffle and pocket water areas. Now, on the smallmouth side of things, the Shenandoah here has been receding. We had high water there for a little bit from some big rains that we had. We are keeping an eye out this week. There's definite chances of thunderstorms in the evenings on most days. So we have to watch those kinds of things a lot this time of year. We can have one storm come through, drop a ton of rain, and it can be real isolated, but that water all funnels down into our big rivers. So really good to just check your gauges before you get out, check with us before you get out and see what the water's like. This morning when I looked, I think the South Fork of the Shenandoah was sitting around 750 CFS here, which is definitely fishable. We really like to see in the summertime for our best topwater fishing that slightly lower water level. That's going to help us have great topwater action, but definitely when you see it around average flow like it is right now, you're going to have great fishing. Might be more on streamers and crayfish and things like that, but fish are everywhere in the river, so you can catch them on all sorts of stuff. And we'll hope to continue just really consistent smallmouth fishing throughout the summer here, barring any major storms that we have. As far as musky fishing goes, we're starting to kind of leave those alone now. Our water temps are finally getting to the point where you're really on the fringe, so we're probably going to be laying off of those for the remainder of the summer. But if you watch water temps and you see that they're okay, low 70s, then the fish will still be active. So again, good to have a water thermometer. Take a look at that kind of thing before you decide what you're going to be doing that day. And I think that's really it. So appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, as a reminder, we'll be closed tomorrow. If anybody sees this today, July 3rd, and wants to get something that they want to pick up tomorrow morning, we do have our pickup boxes. So if you place an order today before 6 o'clock, we'll be able to get that in a pickup box for you if you're planning on getting out on the water tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll see y'all back on the 5th. And again, hope you have a great holiday with family and friends, and stay safe and enjoy the fishing this week.